Listen, there's a lot of.
I don't know if you dove into all the. By the way, we're live. Welcome back, Bash in the Brain, Baschamania, episode 338. Pre-show overflow into the show. I don't know if you dove it. Why am I getting audio? Oh, that okay. I love that. I was going through the show notes doc, and I've been writing notes in here for the last 3-4 days. Not just Super 32, but other things that we'll get to. And I was laughing because you get on page 16 of 24. So Willie has show notes that he's had for years. It's the Bible to his brain for everything wrestling. And this is just what he's thinking. And in the middle of page 16, it says, F the SEC. No context. No nothing.
I don't know. I have no idea what that's about.
A lot of comments in here.
All the way down there on page 16.
I don't know. I forgot why. Sometimes I just like to see different things that don't make the show or don't make content. But anyways, we are back Tuesday. Apologies for no Monday show. This was Willie's first time traveling, so he not only didn't have his podcast equipment, he doesn't get home till Monday night. So our Monday show, the first word, gets pushed into Tuesday. But we are here now.
And it did give me some time, though, to push out another article on sort of just a couple notes on how the bracket played out and what seeds fell early and how it might have affected the bracket. It's not too much, but then a breakout star or two at each weight for Super 32. It really was a great weekend and a great tournament. The number, it's so funny because the number of scratches that are of nationally ranked kids at Super 32, the number per weight is probably more than most tournaments have actually wrestle. And it still ends up being a great tournament. And a lot of people say, well, why are there so many scratches? And I think it's a combination of things. One, you have to register way early, right? Because you have to lock in your spot because it sells out. And then during that time, people either change their mind and they get hurt. And I really think that the proximity, I think last week I said I love the guys that wrestle at Who's Number One and then still go to Super 32 because there was a time when they chose one or the other. Well, a lot of those guys that wrestled at Who's Number One then did back out, even within that window between the time I said it on the show last week. I do think that the proximity this year was too close. A week, I mean, those guys were in Iowa and then immediately come to Greensboro, make weight again. I mean, a lot of them fell out, right? Seiden fell out, Paul Kenny fell out. There was a bunch of them. So, but still, it's still an amazing tournament, as good as it gets. And I mean, not for nothing. Yeah, you like to see you like to see as many great kids as you can, but it does give you some answers to questions on other prospects because maybe a guy that didn't show up, maybe Landon Seiden not coming, really answered questions about somebody that plays sixth at that weight, where otherwise he wouldn't have gotten to that point. So there is a silver lining in it a little bit if you really nerd out.
Yeah, and you did nerd out. That I think it was a 30-minute read you put out on Rocklin, which we're gonna dive into it. We're gonna dive into a lot of it. What do you want to do? Biggest takeaways? You want to go weight by weight? What do you want to do?
Well, what do you want to go?
I say let's talk about some of the overarching storylines to start, and then maybe fill in the gap. I think.
Well, I mean, the big storyline. I mean, Bo Bassett won his fourth title in his fifth final, which is just absurd. Nobody had ever won for, and Bo did it, and he also made a final as an eighth grader. And then in the same year, Tana Fernandez, who's just phenomenal. Has 2 cadet world titles. She won her first girl, first women's. So it was pretty cool.
Yeah, Bo Bassett's a machine. I think he scored his... Bo outscored his opponents like 130-18 or something like that.
It's ridiculous.
It's crazy.
Mako, now heavyweight wasn't the deepest of brackets, but Mako just tore through everybody. And it was a great kind of juxtaposition between he wrestled Merrill a week ago and couldn't score a point. And then he goes here with they're ranked guys, and he just is an offensive machine. So I think when you evaluate heavyweights a lot of times, it's like, okay, is this guy a plotter, 2-0, 2-1 type of old school big man? And then you see Mako not score against Merrill. Is that what kind of heavyweight it is? No, it's just that Merrill's that good, that big, and he's just elite of the elite defensively. And no, Mako's a point scorer, and
he's going to continue to grow. He's going to. I think as he gets bigger, he's only going to become more aggressive. So it's only going to get better for him. He
tech pinned his way through. Bassett bonus his way through. Mako bonus his way through. And 2 others came close. Zinkin, I think, had like a 5-point win. I think Melvin had a 4-point win or 3-point win. So they were sort of the top performers.
Yeah, obviously Rios too. I mean, being unseeded and winning the whole damn thing, taking out the 2 seed and the 3 seed in the process.
He wasn't gonna. I'll tell you one thing. He wasn't gonna let the white boys beat him.
The what? The white boys?
Yeah.
How come he wasn't seeded? That was the big question. That
you know that he said that.
Did he?
He said that in his post-match interviews. He said, "I ain't letting these white boys beat me." He wasn't seeded. He placed 3rd in Cali. No Vegas, no Super 32 previously, no Fargo. He never did nothing. He placed 3rd in Cali at 106. That's all he's ever done. Like, I think I looked it up. 2022, he wrestled for Mexico at U15s. He wrestled for Mexico at U15s. He took 2nd in freestyle, right? To an American, I think. So I had nothing to seed him on other than, I could have put him in. I could have put him in seeded strictly based on Cali 3rd, because that's kind of enough.
Yeah, Terrapelli added some context for that California tournament, that as a freshman at 106, his only loss to that tournament was to a 2-time world champ, and then he was 4th at Doc B.
Sammy.
Yep, 4th at Doc B, losing to a world champ there too. And he said, not to mention our 106 class is notoriously stacked. We had 3 Super 32 placers and a top 12 at 106 this weekend. So crazy, but I agree. If it is like one tournament, it's hard based on what your criteria is.
And I even double thought about it, because he wrestled at Journeyman last week, 2 weeks ago. So his name was refreshed in my mind because of Journeyman, and I thought, should he be seated? And I'm like, nah. He took 4th at Journeyman. Now that was up a weight, but I don't know what he is, right? 4th at Journeyman 1 week, Super 32 champ the next. I don't know, guys. I'll take that one on the chin. You want to say that's he should have been seated? Will, you messed that one up? Fine. Fine.
But I will say that while that's kind of the outlier, if you look at men's Super 32 winners by seed, 4 number 1 seeds, 3 number 2 seeds, 2 number 3 seeds, a number 4 seed, 2 number 5 seeds, and a 6 seed. That's it.
Yeah.
That's all the winners, and then you have the 1 unseeded in Rios winning at 113.
Yeah, 113 was kind of crazy too because you had Bassett going up late and Karen Bauer losing early to Rios. You know, Karen Bauer clearly a top seed there with you know, he beat Bassett at the state tournament. He took second in Vegas, third in Fargo. So he was clearly, or no, third in Fargo. So he was clearly a top seed, and then that breaks up the bracket. You know, Ryan. Well, let's start. Let's just a quick thing at 106, and also getting back to that Cali thing. I mean, it is not lost on me how deep Cali is traditionally at 106, and I laugh at. I just laugh nowadays at people that say, "Oh, 106 is too small." 106 produces the most talent. I don't care. Get lost if you don't recognize that, because it does. These kids all come into high school. They're all about that weight. And that's why if you look every year, where the seeds get busted up the most is at the bookends. And the reason the seeds get busted up at 106 and 113 is not because I do a bad job of seeding them. It's because that's where the most talent is. That's where the most parity is. That's where the most 1 point, 1 scramble, 1 exchange matches comes down. And at 106, this particular year, Cali always has great incoming freshmen. This particular year, they were just crazy. They had 4 placers. They had another one that was blood round, Tyler Sweet, who made the quarters. So, yeah, like back to Rios, it's not lost on me that third in Cali is really, really good. It's just that he was up a weight, you know, at Journeyman and lost too. But Araya Mills kind of reaffirming his position at 106. He beats Cooper Deputy in the finals. 1, 2, 3, 3 Cali placers, another one blood round. But nothing. Like the order was goofy, and there might have been some really good kids that didn't place, but nothing too surprising.
Yeah,
113 was the Rios again, and you know, go watch Sean Kenny against Cody Clark. That semi was crazy, weird. Kenny puts Clark on his back. Then Clark gets on top and cranks him, and he gets back points. But then Sean injures his shoulder, and it was just – and Clark rode him for days. Clark was enormous. That was one kid that I'm like, man, that's a big 113-pounder. But skill for skill, I'm not saying that Clark was competitive because of his size, because he wasn't. I'm just making an observation. He was humongous. Cody Clark is really freaking good. I don't know off the top of my head, but there's gonna be Georgia may indeed have the 1 and 2 best incoming freshmen in the country. Actually, they're the same club too. How wild is that?
Georgia on my mind.
Let me see who else is in that class, because that's crazy. No, that's 28. Where's 29? 29. So Raya Mills. Here's a freshman. Araya Mills, Asher Bacon, Cooper Deputy, who lost to Mills, Teague Sanderson, Tiago Silva, Oliver Putnam. Yeah, man. I think Cody Clark. I think the 2 best freshmen in the country both go to the same club in Georgia.
That's wild.
That is wild.
We need a wild meter. That's up there on a wild meter diagram.
Let's check the chat. Ruben Valencia is the GOAT. Bring RAF to Nashville. That would be fun. Kenny's shoulder looked no bueno. No, he was hurting.
I didn't think he was going to continue in that semi.
I can't stand the global wrestling guy, but he was correct about Bentley Sly. Correct in what way? Correct in what way? I mean, the guy's the kid's nationally ranked. The kid was nationally ranked, and he took what, 5th? Like, let's get real. The global wrestling guy was advocating for Bentley Sly higher because he's a North Carolina guy. Ruben Valencia versus KD at RAF3. RBY DeSanto. Did they? I've been out of the loop a little bit on the RAF stuff. Like Friday night seed, Saturday Super 32, Sunday Super 32, Monday write a recap, travel home. I'm not exactly sure what has been announced and what hasn't been announced. I gotta loop up. Did they announce the date of RAF3?
They did. They announced Chicago 11/29, and that Bo Bassett was signed, and Bo Bassett will be competing on that card.
I'm pumped about that one. That card's going to be really good. I think that card's going to be good. I think Stillwater will be good. Oh, I just said it, didn't I? I shouldn't have said that.
It's a good thing we're not live. We'll cut that out. Nobody heard that.
No, it's fine. There's a Stillwater card coming up too. But the Chicago card is going to be really good. Yeah. Okay. So let's get back to that was 113. It's going to be interesting to see. And Rios, he beat the state champ in Kenny. He beat Karen Bauer. Oh, who beat? Oh, Cody Clark. Cody Clark beat the state champ in Lortier from PA and the runner-up, Wenrich, back-to-back. Crazy as an incoming freshman. So my breakout stars there were Rios, obviously, and Clark. 120. Rocklin Zinkin was amazing. The seeds played out pretty good. The only top seed to not make the quarters was Aiden Dodd, but other than that, it was pretty chalk.
How about Buchanan with 6th placers this weekend?
Buchanan with 6 placers. Yep, they led. I think McCourt and Lake Highland had 5 placers.
McCourt had 5 in the semis, which last year they had 5 in the quarters, and that was big. This year I think they had 6 in the quarters, 5 in the semis, and then I want to say 4 in the finals. Very impressive.
How about this stat? Going into day two, Pennsylvania had 25 guys left. Now, that's 25 guys, not counting some that were listed inaccurately. Like Nadav Nashvi is from Pennsylvania, and he just transferred to Lake Highland Prep like an hour ago. So he was listed as Florida. So there's a couple outliers there. But ballpark, Pennsylvania had 25 guys alive going into day two. They placed 22. They only lost 3 dudes on day 2.
That's wild.
Right? But Lake Highland reloaded. A lot of people, this gets into, preview content coming up for the regular season. We'll get into that when Fab 50 comes out and we'll talk about lineups. But a lot of people were like, wow, Lake Highland was so great last year. Best team ever. They were like second at Ironman, second at Beast, or they might have won Beast. They were first and second everywhere they went. Escape the Rock, Powerade, and they wrestled the best schedule. But they're going to lose a lot of guys, and they did. They lost a lot to graduation. Their upper weights were great. They brought in almost their whole team is new. Like they just
transfer portal.
Transfer. I'm telling you, they got like 7 guys from 6 states.
The high school transfer portal is real.
Yeah, I think something like there was something like 8, I don't know, 6 or 8 Florida placers at Super 32, but like almost every one of them was not from Florida. Lucas Bowe, Zeno Moore, Nafshi. Of the 6 Lake Highland Prep placers, I don't know if any of them were from Florida. That's not a knock. That's just an observation. Mike Palazzo does a great job, and by all means, if to be clear, I'm not knocking Lake Highland Prep. By all means, if you're considering going, and if you're a high school or junior high parent out there that's considering going to a power program, Blair, Sem, whoever, whatever, Lake Highland's right up there. Consider it. He's a total pro. Mike Palazzo is a total pro. I love him. That's not a knock on him. It's just an observation. But Zinkin, it's sort of watered down. I think some of the luster might get lost because originally Munaretto was registered and Seiden was registered. So a little luster might come off. But Zinkin torched everybody.
Yeah, he showed up.
Torched.
Yeah, I had that talk with somebody, a Penn State fan, who's like, "Where's Landon this weekend?" And I'm like, I kind of said what you said. Like, I feel like some of these kids just lock in their spot, and then if they don't compete, But Rocklin looked great. He looked awesome all weekend long, and it's one of those things where, yes, it might lose its luster, but it's still incredible when somebody goes out and does that to the bracket. Like, he looked incredible start to finish. What do you have, a pin in the finals, I think? Was it a pin or a tack? Tack, yeah.
Let me see. Was it? Yeah, 18-3, Basin Jacob. And listen, make no mistake about it. Everybody knows Munaretto. Everybody knows Seiden. Everybody knows Zinkin. Everybody probably knows John McGinty, who was third, who had an excellent tournament. His only loss was to Zinkin, I believe. Let me see. Is that accurate? I think so. But yeah, McGinty's only loss was to Zinkin. He beat Rothermel, Tovar, Anthony Legala, Ryan. But Mason Jacobs very good. That the big names. I don't think that when you think about the top tier at 120, you think about Mason Jacob. But Mason Jacob just split with Dom Munaretto at Elite 8 duels. They wrestled twice. Jacob won the first. Dom won the second. And now he makes the finals here. Mm-hmm. So 2 things. Mason Jacobs very good. And Mason Jacobs, he majored or teched Alex Rosas. Alex Rosas is placed at Fargo, placed at Super 32, placed at NHSCAs. So Mason Jacob very good. And then Rocklin techs him. Mm-hmm. And so just a very, very great performance out of Rocklin Zinkin. Zinkin 1, Jacob 2. McGinty 3, only lost to Zinkin. Giovanni Tovar, the sophomore, was 4. He's going to be very good. My breakout star here, I went with Anthony Legala Ryan. He is a guy who won NHSCAs as a freshman. And at that point, I think I even wrote an article on future Penn State calls, At that time, I was thinking a 125 pounder. Now, obviously, they got Seiden since then. But I listed Legala as a guy that Penn State might want to target. This was a year and a half ago. But that's how highly I thought the trajectory was for Anthony Legala Ryan, a Penn State recruit, right? Now, in between then, he's fallen off a little. Not fallen off. I shouldn't say that. It's just like I was saying about Nicky Singer, really. You evaluate him as a freshman, and you hold them to sort of freshman standards, right? Okay, he's good, but he's good as a freshman. Okay, he's good, but he's good as a junior high guy. If he keeps his trajectory up, Now, Nicky Singer was like this, and then he plateaued a little bit, and now he went like this. And I think that's sort of what Anthony Ryan Lagala, like, he was like this, and then he sort of plateaued. I don't know, and then boom. So he had a really good tournament.
Beshada's starting a conversation in the chat that he wants to know, what is your take on the depth of this year's event versus past years? Seemed watered down in a couple of weights, but very deep still in others.
I think it was great, and that's why. I mean, anybody can like push into the seeds. I'm not immune to criticism. Like, if you want to push in the seeds, the seed results, the placings to seeds. To me, I was over the moon with the way they came out because it's so tough. I thought it was fantastic depth. I mean, there's D1 guys that didn't make day 2. I mean, that's a fact. I don't know. There were a couple brackets that, like, mostly the upper weights. There was spot, but not many even.
I think your seeds were great. I think the more it's like, you know, Landon's not there, Sonny Amato scratches, like Jax wasn't there. Like you see some of the bigger names not there, and I feel like that's what people look at, and you know, on the surface.
I think that contributes to, like, oh, it wasn't that deep, it wasn't that tough. If they were never registered, if Landon Seiden was never registered, and Dean Bechtold was never registered. If certain guys were never registered, you'd be like, wow, this tournament was amazing. But they register and then they don't go, and you're like, it wasn't that tough. No, it was really freaking tough.
Yep.
126, Antonio Mills gets it done again, this time over Villasenor. And I don't know, for my money, I think that the Mills-Villasenor might have been the best, most competitive, most high-level bout of the tournament. I thought both those kids were excellent coming in. Frankly, I thought that coming into the tournament, I thought Villasenor is good, but there's no way. He can't. I'll take Mills all day. And then as the tournament was progressing, I was like, yo, this might be a thing. And indeed it was a thing. Mills winning in rideouts. And Villasenor is still a little, I mean, he's on the tinier side of 26, you know, and Mills is bigger. Jojo Jurachuk, despite coming up to, and I really like the Jojo Jurachuk story as well, but despite coming up to 26 from 120 where he was originally registered, I think he's still big for the weight. And here's a story I like about Jojo is that he's humongous, and he always cuts, and he always cuts, and he always cuts. And I'm like, dude, you're good. You're really, really good. You don't have to cut that much. And you know what? He said, all right, I'm going to move up a weight. And he still did awesome. He took third.
Mm-hmm.
He took third. So I was really happy about that result. Elijah Kollick took fourth, which he was one of the lower. I had him seated 25th. He was a runner-up to Jurachuk at NHSCA's, and I think that I'm happy for him because he sort of broke out, and he's getting some looks now. I know for a fact he's getting calls. Good. Wait, though. Mills, Villasenor, Jojo, Kollick, Paul Ruiz. Now, Paul Ruiz, and again, talking about like the Nicky Singer thing, like you're good early, you're good young, and a lot of these things I like seeing. These are litmus tests for these guys. Paul Ruiz, Fargo champ last year in cadets. Paul Ruiz, Fargo fourth this year. How does it translate to an all-class setting? And I thought Paul Ruiz passed with flying colors. Let's see, he beat Sean Wilcox, Lander Bosch, and he beat Dom Deputy in the blood round, a senior. So sophomore Paul Ruiz having a really good tournament. 132. Moses Mendoza wins it with an 8-3 win over Israel Borg. And I really like the medal that I saw out of Moses Mendoza because he was probably a big favorite in this bracket. And he's just coming off who's number one. And he finds himself in a deficit against Dale Corbin and comes back to win. He goes to the finals. He's wrestling Israel Borg, gives up the first takedown, comes back and wins. So I think the skill was there, and I think the toughness was there. It's sometimes rattling as a favorite to give up first scores, to trail halfway through the match, and then to rally back, and Moses Mendoza did that. Mendoza over Borg. Borg beat Bachman in the semis. Corbin over Bachman in the 3-4 match. Corbin was a guy, in the lead-up material coming into the tournament, when I wrote things like guys to watch out for, I kept mentioning Dale Corbin, and it was one of those weird situations, like a Mason Jacob, in which I said, I know he's highly ranked, he's highly seeded, and still this is a guy I think is sort of a sleeper because people just don't talk about him. And his placings have been at the cadet level or, 6th, 5th, whatever. He hasn't had that breakout sort of performance. He has the wins to be ranked and seeded highly, but at a tournament placing, not real high. And Dale Corbin did just that. He took third, had Moses in trouble in the semis, and beat Freddie Bachman in the third place match. So really good tournament for him. Who did I give the breakout star to?
Hicks.
Devin Lopez took 8th, and Devin Lopez was a guy I had on the cusp of a seed, Colorado State champ, but just didn't have the national. He had some wins, but I didn't have him seeded. Now his path was not one where he I don't want to call him a breakout star because he didn't beat his path just didn't. He didn't face enormous guys, but. Bookmark Devin Lopez. I gave it to Slater Hicks.
You gave a tip of the cap to Slater Hicks.
Yeah. He beat Zuniga. Angel Zuniga won Fargo this year.
And he lost 1-0 to an unseeded wrestler, then went 6-1, which is always just impressive to do that.
Yeah. What else? Let's see. Let's check the chat. Let's check it out. I liked finding mats where coaches were arguing in the background. Oh, it's so good. I hear. I'm not sure, but I hear the best is the roller events, like Tulsa and Kickoff Classic and Tulsa Nationals. I hear the coaches are just wild. I got to get there one day, just for the environment. Oh, man. The crowds around the mat this year, they're always terrible. Well, terrible / great, because it's super cool, especially in the finals. But they always have to stop and issue a bunch of warnings and stuff. And this year was brutal. This year, they got to come up. I got to talk to Dave Barker at Super 32 and come up with a better way to keep. Because what they do is they give wristbands, and kids that are done wrestling, they still have the wristbands on. Kids that are done wrestling, kids that went 1 and 2, they go in the corner when their club teammate is wrestling in semis, and there's 3,000 people around one mat, and it forms this ellipse of humanity that it's just ridiculous. They got to do a better job at keeping people out of there. But
it is a cool atmosphere, but I get what you're saying. It is cool. It's like the blood sport, where you just have a bunch of guys around combat. It is cool from a visual and to have the crowd a part of it, but I get what you're saying. It's also – there was a couple times where I can't remember what match, but like there was a takedown on the edge, and basically like 5 guys had to hold them up because I mean people always complain when there's no out of bounds on like a normal map. There's no out of bounds here. They're literally crowding the circle. So if you're a foot out of bounds, you're falling on kids.
Right, and what happens is there's 4,000 people in the corner, so the coaches sort of get pressured up until the out of bounds line, and then there's a takedown on the edge, and they fall into the coaches.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go 38. 38 was pretty chalk. DeCraker was the 1 seed over Herring, who was the 2 seed. Herring beat Mangano in a 1 takedown match in his semi. DeCraker was a 4-1 winner, 1 takedown match over Peterson. I'll tell you, this bracket to me was the feel-good bracket because Peterson needed to get over the hump, or Beta needed to get over the hump. Youngblood needed to get over the hump. And what I mean by that is these guys have been really, really good. They've been known commodities. They've been guys that were going to be D1 and get recruited, but the question was how big and how high and how hard should they be recruited? I mean, Dean Anderson has flashed all the attributes you want to see, but he didn't place at Fargo the last 2 years. Same thing with Youngblood. Or Beta, I think, did place, but it was low. He had a low California placing. Or Beta is very, very talented with very good results. And to see those guys get over the hump and get on the podium at Super 32, I thought this was the feel-good bracket of the year, of Super 32 this year.
It's a good award.
Yeah. DeCraker, Minnesota. Herring, Penn State. Mangano, Penn State. Peterson, TBD. Peterson's down to, I hear, Arizona State, NC State, and he has one more visit to UNI. He's culled his list to 3, I believe. So it'll be really interesting. Hey, look, shout out, Mr. Peterson.
Shout out.
Gave me this. And Mr. Anderson. Why am I saying Peterson? I wrote Dean Peterson. That's why.
Where?
I wrote Dean Peterson. in the results, yeah. Instead of Dean Anderson, I wrote Dean Peterson.
The Rockfin article had Dean Anderson.
Oh
no! You know what? Well, you wrote.
I wrote it both ways.
Yeah.
It's the Iowa 125 pounder. 144. 7 of the 8 seed made the quarters. The big thing here, and I didn't really realize it until afterwards, but the big thing here was Kickapoo not placing. And I said that, I think I said on the last show or in an article, Kickapoo places at 106. He moves up to 144 pounds. He places 5th at the state tournament this year. He makes the cadet team. He medals at Worlds. He makes a cadet team in both styles. He medals at Worlds in freestyle. And yet, we still have to have answers for him in folk. And he didn't have a bad tournament by any stretch of the imagination. But there's still some questions there, right? In folk style anyway. And I think he'll be fine. I think he's going to be an elite recruit. It's just one of the things I said we need to see it in folk, and we still need to see it in folk. But Brant Hare beats Clinton Shepard 4-0. Clinton Shepard with a really, really nice win over Toscano in the semi. I love Clinton Shepard. Love him. Missed all last year. He won Fargo and cadets last summer. Missed the whole season with an injury. makes the Fargo finals this year against Bo Bassett, makes the finals here. And to me, he's one of the prize recruits of 2027, right at the top, right near the top, behind Melvin. But Brant Hare 4-0 in the finals over him. I'll tell you who really passed the test was Hunter Stevens, taking third. Hunter Stevens was the Fargo runner-up last year. I don't recall off the top of my head what he did in Fargo this year, but a really great tournament. Taking third. He was my breakout star. Actually, he lost in rideouts to Kickanu 2-1, and that's it. And then he went 9-0.
It's wild. Very impressive.
7 ranked wins. Big stuff for Hunter Stevens, who's uncommitted, also a 2027. 150, Bo Bassett. It was a Bo Bassett story. He made his 5th final. He won his 4th title. He bonused his way through, including a 13-4 major in the finals over Charlie DeSena, who's going to Penn. Good tournament by DeSena. Rocco Cassiope. I'm really interested to see where the Cassiope brothers go to college because now Bruno was out hurt. Those guys, they started real light. They moved through the middle. Now they're getting to they're going to end up being upper weights, and it doesn't matter. They just keep winning. No matter what weight they go to. They keep being a tough out no matter what weight they are. Rocco taking third this year. His only loss, also to Bo Bassett. Bentley Sly from North Carolina, taking 4th. How about App State in this bracket? Had 2 placers. 4th, Bentley Sly. 7th, Brady Hand. Quietly, and a lot of us knock Virginia. I mean, I was even sitting with a Virginia wrestling people this weekend, and I was like, how about this guy? How about that guy? How about this guy? And they're like, it's Virginia, you know. They're like knocking their own state. And they have 100 different classifications for state titles and stuff. But Virginia really did, I mean, they were top 10 in placers. Brady Hand being one of those guys. Who did I give my breakout star to? I think Cassiope. I didn't really think there was a big breakout star at 150. Speaking of Virginia and speaking of breakout stars, 157, Josiah Sykes. Josiah Sykes, who wrestled 138 and won a state title last year, didn't even place at NHSCAs. Okay? So if you're saying, well, Willie, you screwed up the seed on that. I'm like, no, I didn't. He just got better. Kids are allowed to get better. This dude started his tournament. He beat an Ohio State champ, Loudon Dixon. He beat a Georgia State champ, Brock Weaver, who placed 4th at NHSCAs. And he beat another state champ. Who was it? Bowden White from Iowa. He beats 3 state champs in a row, and then he gets the 1 seed, Zeno Moore, returning placer, the highest Fargo placer in this bracket, arguably a top 3 guy, and Josiah Sykes beats him 12-11. Like, who is this guy? I mean, I knew him, but that just is mind-blowing. Now, he did fall off and he fell to 8th, but still, you don't see that a lot, boy. Now, credit to Zeno Moore. Zeno Moore, I know, is probably heartbreaking for him because it's a senior year. This is the year. I want to win it. And he loses to a number 1 seed, and he goes out there and loses to an unseeded guy. He gets down 8-1, gets an escape, 8-2 after 2 periods. He gets 3 takedowns. In the third and loses 12-11. Heartbreaking, right?
A lot of grit.
Heartbreaking, right? What does Zeno Moore do? Wins every match going forward, takes third.
Yeah, it takes grit to do that. You love to see that.
Love to see it. Hunter Stevens committed to Wisconsin. You know what? I literally thought Hunter Stevens committed to Wisconsin. I looked it up on 2 different spreadsheets. I just didn't have it in there. I thought he was. I looked it up. And I just didn't have it in there for some reason.
Pretty sure
so
it happened a while ago. That's probably why.
So this Sykes kid, really interesting. When I was at Flo, I worked with a guy named Vinny Barber, who's one of the funniest people on earth. But he's the head coach at Lynchburg in Virginia. And he got a commitment from Sykes before the last weekend. Now this weekend, he balls out, he beats all these state champs. He's like, dude, I don't know. I'm going to have to re-recruit him. I mean, everybody's going to be coming looking for him, right? All right, 165 was the Melvin Miller show. He did not bonus his way through. There was one match in there where he didn't bonus, but Melvin Miller looked fantastic. But I'm just realizing now, Zeno Moore for Lake Highland Prep was the 1 seed, lost a match, came all the way back for 3rd. 165, Lucas Bowe, Lake Highland Prep, 3 seed, lost a match early, wrestled all the way back for 3rd. So 2 Lake Highland kids coming back for 3rd. Good toughness out of them. And a really solid bracket. Melvin Miller, Max Dable. I think maybe the sort of surprise here is Sammy Almendina. Sammy, like, he's a PA kid, small school, was really good in junior high, like really good, like winning the roller series and winning Super 32 middle school, making finals and stuff like that. So he was only a sophomore. He was, let's see the grades here: junior, senior. Sammy was the only sophomore to place in 6th. So watch for Sammy Almendina going forward. There's a little bit of chatter. There's a little bit of chatter that Oklahoma State has started recruiting Daboll. Did you hear that?
I've heard whispers of that. I've heard a lot of Oklahoma State recruiting whispers lately.
Well, go ahead, say it.
Well, there's been whispers and murmurs of, is DreShaun Ross thinking of focusing more on football? And there have been like some scuttlebutt, I guess you can call it, here and there. Like, people are saying, why no DreShaun Ross at who's number 1? Well, he wanted to play football. And even this weekend, David Taylor was in town for who's number 1, went to watch DreShaun play football. And you got to kind of wonder, if you piece everything together, was David there just to watch football, or was he there to watch football and, hey, we really still want you to wrestle? Hey, because I thought the plan was to focus on wrestling and doing football this year. And, it's got to be because of, how the algorithm works, but there's an Iowa football account. I think it's Bound Iowa or something like that. And it just keeps popping up in my feed with DreShaun Ross stats. And it's crazy. Like, so you got to wonder if he's being recruited from a football standpoint, and how that's going to go. But there's a lot of chatter back and forth. Don't know anything as far as, if he's still just going to commit to what the game plan was and wrestle at Oklahoma State. But there's been some chatter about his football career.
Yeah, I really don't know. All I know is what I've read on the message boards the last couple weeks. And it's that DreShaun was getting he's doing phenomenal on the football field, like 200-yard rushing nights and 100 sacks or whatever, and that Michigan has really come hard with an offer for football.
Yep.
Now, I don't know. I'm not ingrained enough. I got too much going on with I don't know. Same thing with what happened with Keeter. is DreShaun a legitimate football prospect? Like measurables, like Keeter, size, strength, athleticism, speed. I guess he has the measurables, but I don't know. I mean, I don't know what kind of competition he's facing. I don't know how. I mean, obviously, Michigan. Apparently, Michigan thinks he's a dude. So, I really don't know.
Yeah, I don't either. I just that Bound Iowa account
surface,
keeps popping up.
You know, if there weren't these rumors about DreShaun and football, and who's number one wasn't in Iowa, and I heard that David Taylor went to see DreShaun, I would think, oh, David Taylor's just continuing to support the guys he's recruiting, going to check on him, showing him some love, going to watch him play football. But you hear about the football angle, and you think maybe, things are getting interesting, and David's doing what he has to do. So, I don't know.
And then if Oklahoma State lost DreShaun to football, let's just say DreShaun went to Michigan, how fast does Kobe Merrill flip from Iowa State to Oklahoma State?
Who knows? I don't know.
Or does he not?
No idea. I mean, I think you're kind of assuming that. I mean, it maps because his brother's there, and
right?
Oklahoma State's a blue blood program, but I don't know. Maybe Kobe Merrill loves Chris Perry. Maybe Kobe Merrill loves Iowa State. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm sure there's a lot that Kobe loves about Iowa State. I'm just saying, like with his brother, him and his brother, competing there at Oklahoma State, one of the top programs in the country, you got to wonder. That would be the first thing I would think. If somehow Oklahoma State lost DreShaun Ross, I would be anticipating a flip. Not to say that it would be warranted, not to say that it's the right move, just I would anticipate it, right or wrong.
Yeah, I have no idea. But I will say this, though. I mean, I think there is a little discord between, I don't know if it's between the brothers or between Mr. Merrill and Cody. Like, I don't think they're, if they are not best buddies, I wouldn't be surprised.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because, Cody, left home while he was still in high school. I don't know. Something in the household.
Yeah.
There's another rumor going around.
Rumor mill.
There's another rumor going around that Jax Forrest could potentially, enroll at Okie State and wrestle this year.
That he could or would?
That he might.
I'd be surprised. When I had him on here a couple months ago, he really was. He was very convincing that he wanted one more year with Bishop McCourt to chase a team title. He really was looking forward to not rushing that. So, obviously things change. But he, at the time, it wasn't like he was on the fence. Should I go back? There was, at the time, a strong desire to go back for that final year of high school. It would be interesting.
Yeah. I don't know if there's enough scuttlebutt that it sounds like it was discussed. What the reality of it is, I don't know. Okay. Back to Super 32. We're getting to the point now where bracket's a little thinner, but 175, Waylon Kressel wrestled amazing. Waylon Kressel is a North Dakota kid. Had some success when he was still in North Dakota. Went to Indiana. Success continued. Placed at a bunch of places. Seemed like a good, solid recruit. Right? Seemed like a a guy that had potential in college, for sure. This weekend, that dude looked amazing. Won the whole thing. Majors Jaden Farrell, the cadet Fargo champ. Farrell himself had beaten S.I. Fernandez, Bosco kid who made the Greco World Team of Cadets this year. Carini third, Salasarni fourth. Farrell beat Sarni also. So Farrell beat the Greco World Teamer, then beat Salasarni, who he had beat in Fargo this summer. Santino Rodriguez took seventh. And he was my breakout star at this weight. Santino Rodriguez, a commit to Cornell. He didn't place at Fargo, but his losses, he had some good wins, and his losses were reasonable. But nobody talks about Santino Rodriguez, including me. I got to give him some more respect. But he was third at the Jersey State tournament, second at NHSCA's, now placed seventh here. Good run for Santino Rodriguez.
Totally.
190, Masney over Ward. Masney was my pick. I think Ward really solidified his position. Another North Dakota kid. So back-to-back North Dakota with two finalists. But we hadn't seen Ward in quite a while on the national stage, so it was good to see his sort of status confirmed. But a good bracket here. Ryder Wilder was third. He was second last year. Luke Ricketts was fourth, just recently committed to NC State. He was your Fargo champ this year. Okie State commit Michael White was 5. Rutgers commit Alex Reyes 6. Maryland commit Devin Downs was 7. And uncommitted junior Ladd Holman, who also plays at Fargo, was 8th. Yeah, that bracket was pretty straightforward. 215. And 215 was all about, to me, the youth.
The youths.
Like, you don't see sophomores at the upper weights placing often at Super 32. Don't happen. Not often. I think in one of the lead-up pieces of content, I said it was about Mangano. Like, Mangano placed last year as a sophomore at like 38 or 32. If you looked at last year's placings, like above 26, there was like 4-ish, 3-ish placers that were freshman or sophomore. There was 3 in this bracket. And another one was blood round. So of the top 12, 6 of them were sophomore. Second place, 5th place, 6th place, 7th place, and a blood rounder. That's just incredible to me.
And per your words, it was no fluke.
It wasn't a fluke because these guys, they all battled in the NHSCA brackets and placed there. They all battled in the Fargo brackets and placed there. And now they're at Super 32, and they're all placing or making blood round here. So it wasn't fluky. These guys have been placing. Now they placed in an all-class setting, and they're really good. They're really good. How about Colton? There were some weird ones. And then in 215 and 285, some 2 weird stats. Colton Tupper placed 8th here, and he beat a PA State finalist head-to-head. He never made the PA State tournament.
That's crazy.
And then we'll move to heavyweight, where Preston Wagner, who just committed, he's a Nebraska kid, he just committed to UVA. Preston Wagner took 3rd. Nebraska has like 4 classes. Preston Wagner never placed higher than 5th at the Nebraska State tournament. He took third here. He AA'd in Fargo. I mean, that's just incredible, right?
Yeah, it is.
Heavyweight was the Mako story. He just steamrolled everybody again, and the results, like that Mako won this bracket is not surprising, but the way in which his offensive output was very impressive, including a tech fall of Cam Hazlett in the finals. So Michael Mako looking really good.
He is, and again, we said it earlier, but I do think Mako's going to continue to get bigger and stronger and more aggressive.
Yeah. I mean, he's in a group where it looks like there's a clear group of next gen heavyweights, right? Him and Bechtold and Merrill and Ross. And Ziola. Ziola's going to be good too.
When Nolf came on here, he was pretty high in him, wasn't he?
Ziola, he needed time. Now, Ziola ended his high school career, Super 32, second or third. Wrestled at Who's Number One. Oh, and Angelo Posada. So they look like the next gen. Now, Posada and Ziola were 215-pounders that need to grow into 285, but I think they'll do that. The word on the Nebraska room is they love, like, Ziola's doing great. Anyway, the point being, there's a next crop of elite heavyweights, contenders, NCAAs, and Mako certainly figures into that. But yeah, and again, it's interesting. Mako and Keita are going to have a year of overlap, unless Mako does like a OTC year or something.
It'll be interesting to monitor.
What's that?
Will be interesting to monitor. Did I lose you for 30 seconds there?
No, I was looking at the chat.
Oh.
What else, boss? That was Super 32. Most Outstanding Awards will be announced today, I think, if they haven't already. But another excellent year. A lot of people were, including myself, were like kind of dunking on FloArena because, of course, like when you roll out a platform, people are going to bitch about it when you roll out a new platform. But then the first major event that you have to watch on it or to have to monitor on it, then that's when it's going to hit its crescendo. And I mean, it's bad. It's probably not as bad as people are making it out to be, and it's probably not as bad as it's going to be in its final iteration. But I think they just rolled it out too fast.
Well, anytime, too, you have a rollout like that, I was just talking with somebody in the DMs about WrestleStat's absolute abomination of a user interface upgrade. And I said that a lot of times when people roll out a new platform, a new UI, they usually have a legacy model because it takes getting used to a new platform. So even like there's change that people, even if NextGen, which is Flo's platform, even if it's perfect, just the change is going to piss people off. So I think you got to give it a couple tournaments. And like Super 32 is really going to put a platform like that under the microscope when you have 256 kids in a bracket. Like, that is probably the hardest it gets to have a bracket that's as clean as possible.
Yeah, hold on. I don't get the 256 thing. I don't get but there's 256 kids. It's hard to do. You can't. Nobody. Really? Because I looked at it on FloArena Classic and it's fine. It's fine. Let's make no mistake here. There was nothing wrong with FloArena. There's nothing wrong with FloArena. Just leave FloArena as it is. There's nothing wrong with it. I'll tell you what happened. The whole thing behind this is USA Wrestling said they didn't like FloArena. They said they didn't like track. They're going to do their own thing. And then Flo went into a scramble mode and said, we got to make USA Wrestling happy or we're going to lose their contract. And so they pushed out this. I don't know. I don't understand what's wrong with FloArena. What is wrong with it? They're like...
I don't think it's just the... I don't know, because I'm sure it's more tournament organizers and parents and whatever, but I do think when you start wanting to add new features, at some point you have to just rewrite a platform. That's where it gets harder to have something for a long period of time from a development standpoint, not usability or anything like that. But if you do want to start upgrading features and adding features at some point, it's harder to do that on an older platform. And FloArena has been around for a while now, so...
I mean, not that long.
No,
10 years? I don't know. And another thing I don't get, and I'm not going to pretend to know the answer to this, but I mean, I talked to somebody this weekend. It made it abundantly clear. Like, track and arena are not like on the same page with things, and I just don't get that. Flo owns track. Tell them what they're doing. Not, oh, we don't want to do this and we don't want to do that. Your parent company, tell them what to do. And that's another question. What is track going to become? Is track going to be nothing? Is that going to shutter? I don't understand.
Yeah, I think track is shuttering. I mean, if you go to trackwrestling.com, it's literally just a thing for go to Flow. So I think track will cease to exist soon.
I don't know, man. Listen, you're right that one thing is it takes a while to get used to new things, and maybe I'm bitching because maybe a lot of people are bitching because it's new, they're unfamiliar, it takes time to learn how to navigate. But
it's not an excuse. It's just that plays into it when you roll something new out. The usability factors, the learning curve is always usually going to piss people off.
But USA bracketing too. It's like they come out with these new things that are worse than what they had originally. And let's make another thing clear. This isn't about like don't be blaming like Piles and Spey and those guys because they don't make the calls, and there's no way that the code writers at Flow said Piles, Spey, Kozak, look at this software. Does this pass your test? And they say, yeah, this is great. There ain't no way. They didn't even, there's no way they had their guys, the guys that are in it every day using tournament software. There's no way they had those guys say, look at it and approve this, which is what they should have done.
All right, let's talk a couple random news nuggets to wrap the show.
First of all, in the same vein, and a lot of times when I criticize Flow, people think it's an axe to grind. It ain't. I call it like I see it. If the new bracketing thing, if I loved it, I'd say I loved it. I mean, hell, I'm saying I love Arena, and I said I loved Arena for years. So it's not an axe to grind. It's what I feel, and apparently what a lot of people feel. But WrestleStat. We all love WrestleStat. We love it. We love
WrestleStat.
Obviously no axe to grind here. What is going on with WrestleStat? It looks like the Crayola factory.
Yeah, they tried
There's
rolling out a
colors
dark
everywhere.
theme. It looks like a game of Uno just got thrown at the computer screen.
It does.
It's not good. It's
Like I
not
got up
good.
and I'm scared.
Yeah, I was scanning the entire site for legacy button. Give me a legacy button. I didn't see it. I was not happy about it.
We'll have to get used to that too. What else, pal?
Just a couple of housekeeping little news and nuggets we can throw out at the people. Number one, National Duels. Did you see they added $50,000 in prize money for day one?
Yeah. Now, what's that for? Like scoring or high
So
scoring?
so they're giving 5 $10,000 bonuses during the first day to the squads with the fastest average takedown time. So each team's 5 fastest takedowns, recorded by 5 different wrestlers, will be averaged to determine each session's winner. Takedown times will only be measured from the beginning of the first period. I love it. I think, number one, you throw more money at it. Great. I think you're incentivizing offense. Great. I think day one is, you're going to have more teams, so you're going to have visibility because people are going to want to tune in and see their team. But there's going to be a lot of people that are like, okay, once it gets to the semis, I'll turn it on. This is just more incentivization to get both teams showing up and to get fans like, hey, there's going to be even more action. So I love that. I thought it was a cool little last-minute addition.
Yeah. No, listen, I love it. I'm wondering, and it's certainly good when you have more money to incentivize things and more money into the sport. But whether or not it materializes is another thing. But the interesting wrinkle is that we're all going to tune in to see if it does.
Right, 100%.
I've always been kind of leery about incentivizing early action. I don't like some people say, which I think is monumentally stupid. Some people say a freestyle, the criteria should go to first point scored, not last point scored. Dude, nobody's going to. First of all, even on the surface, that's silly. Because then nobody's going to open themselves up for a mistake to hold criteria. Number one. And also putting in first point scores as criteria then means less incentive for action at the end.
Yeah.
You want the action.
Yeah. So that was a little nugget. I got a Beshada nugget here because Don is a wrestling brain through and through, especially when it comes to New Jersey. And he passed along a nugget that a quiet commit last week was Gabe Logan to Michigan. Gabe Logan of Del Barton. He believes that Gabe's going to be a force in the future. He thinks he's going to be a top 10 pound-for-pound guy by the time he graduates. Junior year. This year set out last year with an injury. Probably projects 174 pounds. And when Don gives a little Jersey nugget, I take it with a lot of weight because he knows Jersey wrestling. So good little quiet commit there.
Logan, it's a really good commit, a legacy commit. Damian, his father, went to Michigan. Damian, one of the Jersey legends. It's really tough to accurately assess Gabe. Was, I think, U15 Greco champ, then went to Fargo and was first in Greco, second or third in freestyle, and then did something similar again, and then was hurt. And so when you miss your entire sophomore season, it really hurt Del Barton too, because not really hurt, but look how good Del Barton was last year. They were amazing. They were in contention for the number one team in the country, and they had a piece like Logan not available. So, Yeah, he very well could be, and I think maybe when he was active, I think I had him top 20-ish pound for pound in that class, but we haven't seen him in a long time, and I'm glad he's back. He's going to be healthy for this season.
Yep.
Del Barton also had another, and I know we'll go from Don's love seeing Logan to Michigan to Don's hate. Ryan DeGeorge from Del Barton committed to Rutgers. I think that was a good pickup too. The Del Barton kids have historically produced a ton of talent, but not many have gone to Rutgers, and they got him.
Don doesn't hate Rutgers. He's just critical.
Okay.
He's just critical. Rutgers, I feel like they got a couple. They got Charlie Esposito. They got a couple of commits in the past week. I keep seeing booms all over my timeline.
Somebody posted on Twitter, and I'm thinking of it because of Tahir Parkins, a kid from my area who was state champ last year, committed to Rutgers, is a freshman at Rutgers now. But somebody, you know how I always say I pay attention to the junior high results, and it works out. And I always say somebody this weekend tweeted a screenshot of like junior high champs from like 6 years ago from Super 32 middle school. Bro, it was like Parkins and Kenny and Bachman and like.
I love when those things pop up like 10 years later.
It's all the dudes. It's all the dudes that are the top recruits now.
Somebody
so stop making fun of me for following 14-year-olds.
I went down these happen randomly. This is one thing that Beshada does. I feel like it's worn off on me. Like somebody was asking what happened to they thought there was another 4-timer at Super 32, Adam Buciello, whatever. And I was looking back at 2018 Super 32, and I just started going bracket by bracket and just started like you randomly get your hands on brackets from like 7, 8, 9, 10 years ago, and you just sit there and go through them, and it's so fun.
That's why a lot of times when I do my previews, I'll put in like the finals from 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh yeah, that kid. Oh wow, look at that matchup. They both became NCAA finalists or something, you know?
Yeah. All right, one more nugget that I don't really have a nugget on it. It's just more of a question for you. Nate Jesurgoa did an interview, and people are talking now that maybe he'll wrestle for Navy. What have you heard about this?
I talked to him this weekend. He was at Super 32. I talked to him. He's funny. I didn't push too much into are you coming back to wrestling? Are you coming back to wrestling? What I said to him was, hey, you want to wrestle RAF? And he was like, smiled, and he's like, you would have me? And I was like, yeah, I'd have you. Let's go. He was like, all right, yeah, I'd like to do that. Maybe we get him at RAF. We get him on a card at RAF. See where he's at.
That'd be cool.
But I know everybody that probably saw him there was like, you coming back to college? You coming back? So I didn't push into it.
Yeah.
I didn't bug him. I was like, hey, you want to wrestle RAF? So who knows?
All right, I got nothing else. I mean, Robbie Smith was awarded a bronze from a decade ago.
Yeah, that's cool.
So literally the 2015 Worlds in Vegas feels like 50 years ago, and he finally was awarded the bronze medal due to opponent doping.
I love Robbie Smith. It's so much luster comes off. Like, hey, you know that tournament 10 years ago? Yeah, you were actually third. Like, yeah, it would have been nice to be on the podium.
Yeah, but at least it is, like, I feel like especially for Greco, like, it is cool now that he's a world bronze medalist. Like, you know, to be a world medalist, I feel like that's a nice...
So we're wrong. So we've been wrong this whole time. U.S. Greco's thriving.
Correct. Correct. Oh, by the way, Nicholas Singer did commit to Ohio State over the weekend, and you had said that was like all but done. Now it's officially done.
Yeah, bro, they got to do something. I'm not being critical of the teams that do it. But like Nick Singer and Adam Waters are like staying out there in an apartment that's provided for them.
Well, someone asked
Through the
that.
RTC. And so I'm not ragging on Ohio State, or it's happening at Iowa State too. It's happening a lot of places. It happened at Oklahoma State. It's happening a lot of places. And I am not being critical of Ohio State. And I'm not being critical of Iowa State. And they're playing the game. They are playing that game. And that's the rules. But the rules are stupid. And I get a lot of coaches saying, I don't know, I must have had freaking 5 coaches in the last month say, Willie, you need to get a sack. You need to step up. You need to tell people. You need to say on your show that this is bullshit and this is it. Well, guys, number one, it's not actually bullshit because it's the rules. Number two, I appreciate you saying I have a big voice, I have a big platform, and I should speak out against it. But how about you guys do something and collectively come together and go to the NCAA and say, hell no, this rule got to change. How about you actually do something? And I'll tell you what it is. Now, we're talking about 2 different things here. We're not talking about NIL and promises and guaranteed money and money that has to go through Deloitte Clearinghouse and revenue share. We're not talking about that. What we're talking about are these giant loopholes that are all predicated on RTCs. There's 2 different issues. One's NIL, that can be dealt with over here. The RTC issue is it's pretty simple, guys. If you don't want guys getting free training and free housing and some money on the side and all these perks and flights and this and that, if you don't want that, if you think that is grimy or whatever you think, then get together and get the NCAA to block this RTC loophole. Because you know who doesn't care? You know what they're doing now? A lot of college coaches are going to USA Wrestling and saying, hey, USA Wrestling, you need to fix this. This is not good for college wrestling. And you know what USA Wrestling is saying? Psst, are you crazy? We don't give a shit. We love it. There's more training. There's better training. There's more investment in training. All that talent and all that time and all that effort leads to a better pipeline for us. You think USA Wrestling is going to change that rule? No. What you have to do is go to the NCAA and say, these RTC carve-outs ain't flying no more. Don't tell me about it. Tell the NCAA about it.
Yeah, it's like they don't want to throw somebody under the bus. They want somebody else to do it.
Well, I just don't understand it. I just don't understand why they don't put somebody on the committees and get the college rules changed. And this is all because, you know what? I made an example last week. Let's say there's a wide receiver from Tennessee. Let's say there's a D end from North Carolina, and Alabama wants him really bad. Alabama cannot say, come to our facilities. We'll teach you the swim technique. We'll teach you how to anchor. We'll teach you this. We'll teach you technique. We'll coach you up on our campus, on our facilities. We'll put you up in housing. We'll pay you. They can't do that because there's no RTC carve-out. Wrestling can because there's an RTC carve-out. So coaches, college coaches, if you're done with this crap, go to the NCAA and say, let's play ball. USA Wrestling, you want your cake and eating it too. You don't want to enforce anything. You don't want to enforce. And by the way, if I was USA Wrestling, I'd probably do the same thing too. Not my job. It's not my job. It's the NCAA's job. So I'm not blaming USA Wrestling. But the coaches, they need to get the job done. They need to get the rules changed.
And that's the bottom line. Because Willie Saylor said so.
Because I said so.
All right, Brain.
We need a second show this week for RAF and U23s, pal.
We do. That's exactly what I was about to say. So last week, I've said it a couple times in October that it's about that time of year that we're going to start doing 2 shows a week. We got to try to get into our 2-show-a-week rhythm because we've been really good on our 1-show-a-week rhythm. We got to get into our 2-show-a-week rhythm. We were trying to do a show on Friday. Willie forgot his podcast stuff at home. But we got to do a show on RAF and U23s. Freestyle is, I'll run through it real quick. Men's freestyle is Friday through Monday. Let me see what it is. I'll tell you people real quick. You got
first? That blows.
No. Greco started yesterday. And today, tomorrow, and then women's.
It already started? I'm so out of the loop.
So Greco's Monday through Thursday, women's Wednesday through Saturday, men's freestyle Friday through Monday. Specifically, Friday, Messenbrink and Bar. Saturday, Lilidal, Duke, Haynes, Herrera. Sunday, Jax, Forrest, Marcus Blaze, Rocco Welch, and GK. I'm just going to call him GK.
Actually, I wish it was first. I wish it was now.
Yeah, anyway. No, same. It's gonna be another busy weekend because it's gonna be Friday, Saturday, Sunday, 4 a.m. Eastern. It starts live on Flow, but we'll do a show. We gotta probably do one Thursday, I'm guessing, since it starts Friday at 4 a.m. We'll do U23s and RAF, and then there should be some big news in the collegiate wrestling world dropping this week.
Tomorrow, I think tomorrow, but I don't know.
It should be tomorrow, Willie says. So if that's the case, we can do. We could do that on Thursday as well. And then pretty soon here, Willie's going to do an updated crystal ball, and that will lead us into
that's going to be so fun. And that's going to be like the funnest crystal ball release and show in a while.
I would say in probably next week because we got to do our full college wrestling season preview. And I think last year, we did the college season preview show and crystal ball show in one, like together. So we'll do that probably perfect. Next week.
Yeah. Do that. A lot on my plate. RAF this weekend, rankings update, then all big board updates, then crystal ball updates, and preview show. And then, so I'm going RAF this weekend, then going to, I don't know when the hell, November 7th, Nebraska Army. I'm going to that, and then right to
National Duels the following week.
National Duels. And then right to RAF 3 in Chicago.
Yeah, and by the way, going back to Super 32, if you guys like the written word, Willie's bracket breakdowns and breakout stars, everything we kind of did bird's eye view of and dove into today, that's on Rocklin, rocklin.com/MattScouts. He's got everything. He's got the bracket breakdowns and breakout stars, the full Super 32 recap. So go back and you can get all that. About an hour's worth of written word. So if you got a flight today that's about an hour long and you want to read something, there you go.
I got you, Keith. Give me a holler. Go Bills.
Go Bills. We did not lose this weekend.